Two of America's most notorious killers are one step closer to walking out of prison as the Menendez brothers' resentencing hearing will go forward next week. But today's ruling wasn't handed down before more bombshells exploded in court. First, with Lyle and Eric Menendez's defense attorney, Mark Garagos. He withdrew a motion that he had filed demanding that Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman and his entire office get kicked off the resentencing process. Garagos accused Hochman and his team of being biased against the brothers, who are both in prison for life for the gruesome murders of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. And in one final last-ditch bid to block resentencing, DA Hochman, who was in court himself to personally argue the case, read out portions of a state parole board's reassessment of the brothers, a report that is sealed currently, but a report that cited Eric and Lyle's use of smuggled cell phones in prison. And Lyle's, quote, narcissistic and antisocial traits, including the finding that, quote, elements of his entitlement continue to exist. This is all according to psychologists who examined the two brothers. Now, this report also found that Eric Menendez had used and traded drugs while locked up in prison and even helped another inmate commit tax fraud.
If someone is willing to risk engaging in a rule violation while they're actually involved in a resentencing, what does that say about their risk of conforming to the standards of the law if they were released?
The standard for the judge on a presumption on DA initiated is, are they likely to commit a super strike? Last time I looked, cell phones in prison are not a super strike.
A super strike is a serious felony committed by a repeat offender under California law. All right, joining me now to get through all of this, and criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool, who also represented numerous victims of child sexual abuse. All right, but Brian, the resentencing hearing is now finally on. It's been canceled or postponed several times already. It is going to happen now next week. This could be a huge moment for the Menendez brothers. Do you think they will win resentencing and release in the next few weeks?
Hey, Elizabeth, great to be back with you. Hey, given what happened today, I'm surprised that the judge did not wait on this resentencing hearing until the full risk assessment report is out. A little bit of the cat is out of the bag, and that little bit that's out of the bag kind of supports Hochman and the prosecution. So if I'm the judge sitting there, Elizabeth, I'd be like, wait a minute. If that's true, what you're saying is in that report, let me get this entire risk assessment report, and then let's include that in the entire resentencing hearing, or more important, let me consider all of that information in the risk assessment report before I decide that we're going to have a resentencing hearing. So I'm a little bit surprised that this has come forward.
Especially because, you know, it's interesting, and I know you have represented a lot of victims of child sexual abuse, and Eric and Lyle Menendez, and have claimed that that is why they murdered their parents, because they were being sexually abused by their father, that their mother did nothing to stop it. And their case has gotten a huge amount of public support because of those allegations. But it was really interesting that DA Hochman read the psychologist examination of both these brothers, noting that one of them still has antisocial tendencies and is prone to feelings of entitlement, which goes right back to why the government, in this case the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, has always argued they committed the murders because they wanted the money.
Yeah, Elizabeth, look, I've represented over 200 victims of child sexual abuse, and most of them, I will tell you, are extremely traumatized. They are not feeling a sense of entitlement. They are still extremely depressed. They are antisocial. They don't have trust. They have trust issues with people in general. And some of my clients have tried to commit suicide as well. So my point of sharing that with you is that the behavior you're seeing as set forth in this partial risk assessment doesn't really mirror what most victims of child sexual abuse are experiencing years later after the abuse.
Brian, super quick, just 10 seconds. What do you think is going to happen next week at this resentencing hearing now that it is finally going to happen?
Yeah, my guess is, is that I think this judge is going to grant resentencing. But that
Wow.
said, I hope your viewers realize that doesn't mean that the Menendez brothers are granted parole. All that means is it goes to the parole board then, and then they've got the full risk assessment report, and then they will make the ultimate determination whether these guys get out of jail. So they don't get out of jail if they win the
Next
resentence.
week, right. They still got to go before that parole board, who will have that entire sealed report in front of them. Brian Claypool, thank you so much. Have a great weekend.